This is Optometrists Building Empires, and I'm your host, Ankit Patel. Each week, we'll explore the journey of multi-practice ownership and leadership in optometry. Join us for insights and strategies from the top minds in our field. This show is sponsored by My Business Care Team. My Business Care Team helps your office increase revenues, reduce costs, and reduce staffing headaches. Let's build your empire together. Today's guest is someone who's dynamic and going to be interesting to speak with today. He's a forward-thinking optometrist, entrepreneur, and passionate advocate for innovation in eye care. He's the host of Optometry Unleashed podcast, and is a trusted key opinion leader, top industry brands like Neuralens, Bausch & Lomb, and Hoya Vision. He was named Optometrist of the Year by the British Columbia Association of Optometrists. He's co-founder of Care One, which is a collaborative telehealth company. He's optometrist and practice owner at Cowichan Eye Care, which has 5 locations in Canada. Please welcome Dr. Trevor Miranda. Trevor, welcome.
Hey, Ankit, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this because you have a really unique perspective on things, and excited to hear your perspective on some of the questions I have for you. And with that, what was the most important thing that helped you grow your empire? You have your 5 locations, podcast, see a partner in this other organization. What were the important things for you?
Well, I think there's several important things. I think, you grow one step at a time, one brick at a time, one patient at a time. So for me, it's just impressing the heck out of each patient, each interaction. And that includes your staff. I think your staff is the most important asset to our organization and to really any organization. So investing in staff, and that just isn't just compensation. It's your time and energy. It's enculturating the team. It's motivating them. It's finding out what makes them click and just bringing it all together and growing. For me personally, it's a lifelong learning opportunity. I've learned from people before me. So, the information's there. It's about implementation, and it's about finding the team to be motivated to implement and constantly change and improve. We've all of our clinics are cold starts. So there are 5 cold start practices, but we keep growing, double digits for 30 years. So this is year 30 for me in practice. So, you have to evolve, you have to change, you have to adapt and do different jobs. I was cleaning the office. I was doing the books in between patients. I was answering the phones. I was dispensing. And now I am still doctoring, but I've started to wear a CEO hat and sort of create an organization that's enduring and sustainable. And I think that just brings with it some opportunities, whether it's a podcast or whether it's creating a telehealth company or My Dry Eye Summit or My Retina and treating other diseases in optometry settings like dry macular degeneration, which maybe we haven't done in the past. It creates opportunities to just even be bigger and better.
Yeah. And let's dig into that a little bit, because I want to know how you think through these things. So I liked how you said it's about building practice one patient by patient by patient. Each patient's a brick. You're building your quote unquote empire. How did that philosophy turn into all your pivots? Like, can you tell me how the patient journey and taking care of a patient pivoted from you're doing everything to 5 locations to these new lines of service, this telehealth? Like, talk to me about some of those journeys and where you took in consideration the patient journey.
Yeah, I think we started with the patient journey. So it's just impressing the patient. I didn't start with the intention to build an empire, so to speak, or have 5 locations. It was just that one patient. I wanted them to be locked in mentally to our clinic, emotionally to our practice and our doctors, and me specifically at the beginning, because it was just me. And then it evolved into growth. They told their friends. We started growing fast. I'm like, wow, we're going to need more space. We're going to need maybe another location. And it just kept going. So the recipe was successful in that sense, is just making sure you treat that patient that's in front of you as the most important thing ever. You're not thinking about what's happened before or what's going to happen in the future. You're not thinking about the flashes and floaters or foreign body patient that's sitting in the lobby. You're thinking about that patient, and I call it being present. You're there for them for whatever they need. And I think that philosophy has helped create the stickiness factor for the patients to our practice. And then it just becomes exponential growth. Patients tell their friends, friends tell friends, and all of a sudden we've got a burgeoning practice that's going great. And then we add, ancillary treatments like a dry center, an AMD wellness center, vision therapy, myopia management, all the subspecialties. So we can just kind of capture the entire opportunity in front of us for that patient care. But it's really the mind space. We're battling for mind space. When they think of eyes, when they think of anything, we want them to think of couch and eye care. We want them to think of our doctors and our staff and come to us first.
Yeah, and you've put that's a lot of meat right there. I want to dissect each thing one by one if you're okay with that. This is super interesting because I loved how you said being present with the patient in office, and that's really important. So they feel connected with you. Um, and then you also had some things about top of mind awareness or mind share, them being engaged with you. Now, I want to touch on both of those and how they connect. Let's start with the first one first. Engaging with the patient, being present. What are things? How do I know if I'm a doctor in the chair? How do I know if I'm engaging with the patient? And maybe I'm not as charismatic as you, Trevor. And I'm more of an introvert. I'm not really like, hey, I don't really know how to do that. Well, how do you? What are some concepts that people can take away from this, no matter what their personality is, to be present and connect with the patient?
Yeah, I think it's partially it's a congruence between your inside voice and your outside voice. So if you're thinking something, hey, let's have it out. Let's chat about it. That comes off as authentic because it's true. You're not thinking like, oh my gosh, this patient's deaf and this is going to be annoying, and then you're faking being nice. Or you can be genuinely empathetic in your mind, in your heart, in your voice. So there's a congruence there that makes you be present, right? So that's step number one. Step number two is, enjoy it. Enjoy the interaction and learn. It's about ego too. A lot of doctors, I would suggest, or a lot of everybody has a big ego and think that they're the most important person in the room and they're there to be more paternalistic and educate the patient. Well, yes, you are, of course, but you can learn from your patients. You can have a humility about yourself and just welcome the opportunity to learn from your patients. Over the years, I've really learned amazing things. What's the best fishing spot? Where's the best place to go get, a steak? Doesn't matter. It's really they have something to give and I want to hear it. I genuinely want to hear it. I think that's part of the joy for me in that interaction. So find your joy. What is it about this patient that will bring you joy instead of thinking that I can't wait to get this over with because I'm so tired and annoyed or whatever. So get those thoughts out of your mind, be present and just enjoy it. There's something to find. There's a nugget there that you're going to be able to do something, learn something, enjoy that interaction and be grateful for it.
And I'm gonna stay here for a little while because this is gold. This is amazing stuff. Actually, I don't know if you realize this, but this is really cool to hear. So what I'm hearing is that finding what you really enjoy. So if I'm a doctor, I really like diseases. That's what I'm interested in. People. Let's be honest. Not everyone. Everyone's got some people more people than others. I may not care about what they did this weekend. I really care about their eyes. And so maybe if I'm that way, it's finding that, oh, what's interesting here and how does it relate back to them and their lifestyle? So being like, oh, let me see how I can get it. Maybe me personally, I always view things as, well, one way I heard it say is like a game. Like, oh, how can you find different ways to say something or connect with someone? And on the opposite side of that, if you do have if you are very extrovert, bringing it back to the education piece, because it sounds like you have to have a little both. So what I heard about there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, is being present by having inside voice and outside voice congruent. And I want to ask something there here in a moment. But in addition to that, it's also being genuinely interested in something, finding something to connect on, be interested in. And then education, but not education in terms of telling, but I always like the concept of experience share, storytelling versus telling, right? Storytelling is like, well, this is what it looks like. And this is what I've seen, here are your options. Or like, hey, I had this one patient who did this and they had good outcome. Or something like that versus saying like, you really need to wear your sunglasses or else you're gonna get cancer, or something like that. Right. And so it sounds like it's more of the, how different ways of connecting that patient. Are those, am I reflecting back properly what you're saying?
Yeah. And I'd just like to add, Ankit, to that is The golden rule would be treat people how you would want to be treated. I like to think of it something higher, like the platinum rule is treat people how they would like to be treated. Okay. There's a distinct difference there. What's the difference? And how do you figure that out? We actually have gone to the length of personality profiling our patients. So there's
Really?
kind of four main categories, just to keep this short, is reliable patients. That's about 65% of your patients. They're just coming every day, listening to the doctor. Those are easy ones. There's a detailed patient. They want more detail. They ask questions. They're the engineering types, that really want to dig deep, maybe like you, that want to understand the process and ask deeper questions and then there's the outgoing type. I'm a little bit like that where they, hey, it's a party. Let's have fun. It's all about me. Let's have a good time. And then there's the bottom line types that like want in and out. They want to know the price. They want to know the answers right away. They don't want it sugar coated necessarily. So, and there's various subtypes there, but how do you, ascertain what kind of patient is in front of you? How can you editorialize the information and position it in a way that's most understanding to them? So it's off your first question, it's not about what you're interested in. If it's disease, that's great. It's really, is the patient interested in their disease or not? Or do you have to frame it in a different way to get them more compliant for their glaucoma drops?
Mm.
Do you have to understand the future of their vision, the ability to see their grandkids? How do you have to tie it back so they buy into what you're saying? Because at the end of the day, this is like speed dating. This is like creating a relationship, a trusting relationship with a doctor in 5 minutes. How can you do that? How can you do that so it's so impactful that they won't dream about going anywhere else? And that means being on your toes and being ready and being aware of what that patient is in front of you. What are their wants? What are their needs? What are their emotions like? How are they assessing you while you're assessing them?
And going back to the congruency, if a patient is frustrating you, do you ever say like, "Hey, I'm feeling frustrated"? Do you actually call that out? Like if you have like if things aren't going smooth, or how do you deal with that? Like you do have a pain, like, something's not happening, something's not connecting here. How do you express that? How do you keep that congruent voice when you have that emotional disconnect?
Yeah, I don't believe it's appropriate to be frustrated when you're at work. Okay, so you can have those frustrating feelings, but you really shouldn't be frustrated. You need to check them, and you need to be there and present for the patient. So if something's not working, we need to talk about it. Now that doesn't mean you need to be walked over or be mistreated. And you can say, hey, listen, we need to start again, and I want to have respect both ways. Let's work this out in a better way. So you're working towards answers and solutions. Rather, it's egocentric when you think you're frustrated and therefore, we need to do something for me. What about the frustration of the patient? Why don't we ask them, are you frustrated? Am I missing something here? Is there a better way that I can communicate with you so you feel more comfortable with what I'm saying? So it's just a little bit of a connection in your own brain. And that's what I talk about the congruence is if you're frustrated and then you're trying to fake not being frustrated, that's difficult. If you had to, you're getting to the point where you are frustrated and you want to tell the patient. I think that should be an intentional thing, not an emotional response, a reflexive response to your frustration. So if you think it's important cognitively to educate the patient or explain to the patient you are frustrated with how they are acting in the exam room, then go ahead and say that. But that's an intentional piece. It's not reflexive. It's not to make yourself feel better. It's to help get to better together. So I always say like this, in your mind, in any interaction, are you getting to bitter or are you getting to better? If you're getting to better, go ahead, say what you need to do to get to better.
Yeah, I like that. Intention makes a big difference there on why you're saying it.
Right.
Um, let's say, this is a really good insight. If it's me, I have control of my own actions. I'm hiring doctors. You have 5 locations. You probably have more than one doctor, I'm guessing, right? Several doctors. So how does this scale with the other doctors? Like, how do you do it? How do your other doctors do what you do? Or is it a challenge? Like, help me understand how that happens.
Yeah. So let's just say maybe they're not all going to be Trevor Miranda. I accept that. but could they be 80% of me, which I would say is 100% of awesome? Could they be 80% capable of myself at the beginning and maybe improve that towards being even better? Then I think that would be great and more than acceptable. That means, you have to hire right. You have to invite the correct type of doctor into your team. We're pretty intentional about that too. We recruit. We turn down doctors that we don't think are good fits for us, even though sometimes that's hard, to find a doctor in this kind of market. But I'm out there speaking and I'm recruiting doctors that buy into our philosophy. We want to come to work in a place that you feel good. You feel enjoyable and excited to come to work. And there's a team with you, and we're building a culture in the team. And that's really important. If the doctor is a drag on the energy in the space that they're coming to, we don't want them. We want somebody that wants to add into the energy and the team, help train our team, help be there, help build, help grow our organization. So that individual is very, very important. For instance, we've hired a director of wellness and experience. That's her title. She wears a lot of hats, including marketing and some other things. But, her job's to make sure everybody's well and having a good experience. That's doctors too, and staff and patient. So how do you do that? It's an intentionality again, making sure you hire the right people. It's not by accident. And if you make a mistake by hiring someone that's counterculture, that's withdrawing the energy from your team, then you got to move on. Change the equation.
I like that. And I heard, you even personality kind of personality fit your patients, which I love, by the way. You could probably get that pretty quickly to understand someone. You don't really need a full on 30-minute test for that.
You don't.
But for your staff, do you use something more rigorous for that? Just curious.
We taught them how to do it, so they can put we call it BORD, board. Okay. Bottom line, outgoing, reliable, D for detailed. So if they can analyze that quickly based on their pre-examination testing, then they let us know. And particularly the detailed ones, we want to know. They fill out their forms, both sides of the paper, and they have other drawings and they've written down questions. Those are detailed people. Even how you quote unquote sell to those patients. So how you educate the patient for opportunities in the eyewear gallery, which they're acting more like a consumer. You have to sell to them or educate them for sales in a different way. And that's important. You don't push them to close. You kind of give them more of a fulsome explanation. If I know it's an outgoing patient, I just go, hey, lean your head back. I'm putting these dilating drops in. It's going to sting, and boom. If it's detailed, I'm going to let them know, hey, it's going to be a few hours. It might be longer for some people. You're going to be light sensitive. You're going to lose some reading ability. I'm a bit more detailed. It saves me time. Okay. It makes me more efficient, but it actually positions myself as someone who gets you. I understand where you're coming from because I'm customizing my approach. I'm positioning things in a way that are more digestible to you. So you understand it, you get it. And all of a sudden you think, wow, this doctor gets me. I get you because I am trying to get you. And I'm intentional about how I'm positioning, how I act based on how you would like me to act. That doesn't mean I'm disregarding my responsibilities as a doctor. I'm going to tell you if you got a disease. I'm going to tell you, what is happening because you're paying me for that. But I'm going to try to make it as digestible for you based on your personality.
Yeah, I love that. I love how in the pretest you're kind of you train your team to kind of assess where are they on this. We actually have a similar approach too. Very similar 4 categories actually.
Is that right?
Yeah. So and then try to how we talk to them in a chair is slightly different. And so it's interesting. I like the way you framed it better though. It's simpler, so it's an easy way to kind of digest it. So I might steal that and take that if that's okay.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's important to, and you might see this in your clinics that you oversee or that you advise for, is there's a big dispensing rate differential. Sometimes there's a delta there, and what is that? What's that secret sauce that makes one doctor be able to educate and have buy-in from their patient and another doctor who seems, very nice, not have the same ability? So, we've done some things like handoff in the exam lane. So we did a little study, 15% more revenue when we do a handoff to the optician together as a collaboration in the exam room. So then we mandated, when we understood that, we mandated it across the board. We're going to do a handoff in the exam room. So those are little bits that you'll learn over time to make sure everybody gets a consult in the eyewear gallery. Let's say you have no prescription change. Let's say you don't even need glasses, quote unquote glasses. You still get to have a chat with our opticians in our eyewear gallery.
A post exam, correct?
Post exam.
Interesting. Yeah. I like it. And as far as well, let me shift gears just a little bit because I want to get your experience of growth. What were some challenges you didn't expect that you ran into? You started growing 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5. Like, what were some unexpected things that came up?
Yeah, it's just the rate of growth, right? For us, we just kept growing and realized, wow, we're going to run out of space and have to do a reno in just a few years because we didn't invest in the space to begin with. That's a cash flow situation. So our latest cold start, our 5th practice, our newest practice, it's now in year 4. It's 3,600 square feet in a place that we haven't been before. So that's a brave go at it. The rents are high, the equipment's expensive. It's north of $1 million just for leaseholds and equipment and such in that kind of a space with no patient base to speak of. So why we did that is because we figured the recipe was working and we were going to invest in that and we're going to build. So at the beginning, it was underestimating this, what would work. And then as time goes on, I realized, okay, we can be a bit more, quote unquote, aggressive with that because we know it's going to work. So, but every time basically that we build a new practice, I walk in for the first day and I'm like, oh shit, we overbuilt this. It's like my oh shit moment. I'm like, I can't believe we did this. Blowing our brains out here, overbuilt a practice again. And then a year or two in, I realized, wow, that was genius. We have done well. So I think, again, it boils down to that one brick at a time patient. If you can impress the heck out of them, you can make it so awesome to come into your practice. And that means, that's from everything. We have a 3-second greet rule, for instance. When you walk into a clinic or any of our clinics, someone needs to say hi and be welcoming. We have a 5-foot greet rule. If any of our doctors or team come within 5 feet of a person, they need to acknowledge them. They need to smile. Might be busy, might have a patient waiting. You're running out to the front or doing something, but wave and smile. You're like a politician. Say hi, kiss babies, whatever you need to do on the way out. They know you're busy, but try to be cordial along the way. We phone everybody back that purchases from our office. So we're making sure that satisfaction is guaranteed. We survey every single full exam back to make sure we can improve our processes over time. So there's a lot of things from a service perspective that we require for our team to ensure each interaction and each patient visit is optimized. At least we try that.
Okay. I think that's really, I actually want to put a couple things together here because it's interesting because, I hear a lot of folks who are really successful like you are say these things. And you see people who are like, yeah, I just can't get past a certain area, a revenue amount or size amount. And they say they do the same things. Right. And so what I'm observing is that there's a little bit of a nuance here and the devil's in the details. So, I mean, just like you talked about the patient experience, there's a lot. It sounds like if I were to dig into your office, I shouted you, there's probably like 3, 4, 5, 6 levels deep in terms of details of how to actually do these things, not just first level. So you say you survey your patients, right? But there's probably a whole process underneath there and a whole bunch of other things that have sense of urgencies in terms of fixing things and how you do it and causing whatever it might be, right? I'm guessing there's a lot more that goes behind that because of the culture you've created. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, and also it's we have a team of over 60.
Yeah.
It's closing in on 70, I believe, with doctors and team members. And I think it's not just me. So empowering your team to be special and make it special for the patients, I think is really important. I can't be in all 5 locations. Today I'm not. And I think that's important that you get the right people that understand what we're building here, what we're doing, and then you grow from there. So it's not just me, but it's yes, and these processes. I always say also, okay, it's process over perfection, and that's a lot of times holds some of my colleagues up is they're just so detailed and they don't think anybody can do it as good as them, and they're probably right. But you need to empower, train, mentor, and accept some level of, not perfect, but the process of aiming to be better over every day will make it world class over time.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Process over perfection. So, hey, it's just, I know if a lot of folks have probably read this or listened to podcasts, Good to Great, right?
Mhm.
Or is it perfect? The enemy of great, I think. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think because then that turns people off. They're not motivated because they realize it's unattainable to be great for the average person, let's say. But you can be good and you could try hard and you can have your heart in it. And that is pretty great to me.
And this is a little sidebar, but I think it kind of resonates. I'll share a little story. So my son, 11, daughter's 8, and I shamelessly use ChatGPT to help me with everything in life, right? So I asked it, I was like, I want my kids to be more, I want them to volunteer. I want them to be more proactive. How do I do this? And they're like, well, first off, you should probably model the behavior. That's a good idea. And then second off, you should try to do something that they're interested in and build off of that. And also just do something that just pushes them just a little bit. They're still within the comfort zone, but the edge of the comfort zone, and build over time. And it sounds like similar to what you're saying now, right? Like, yeah, you don't have to be perfect. Looks like this, but man, you're gonna get disengaged if you go for that. But I know where you are now. I know what you like. Let's just a little bit more. Let's try here. Great, awesome. Now let's build a little bit more. Great. Let's keep going. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. You know, system wide improvements of a few percentage points is massive for our organization our size now. But I think that is it's a lifelong learning. So that's the culture you're building is we're always trying to improve. You know, someone has asked me before, hey, Trev, how come you're not, done? How come you're not happy? And I said, oh, I'm very happy. It's just I'm not satisfied. And there's a big difference there. I think you can be happy, but still be hungry and still want to improve. And so incrementally, can you just be better in all aspects of your life? Physically, nutritionally, emotionally. Can you be a better dad? Can you be a better partner? Can you be a better optometrist? Sure. These opportunities now, like you say, ChatGPT itself could teach you how to be better. It just depends. Are you going to be embracing that concept? Or are you going to be, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm full? And if you're full and overloaded or overfull or burnt out, why? What are you doing? What are you missing that is not filling your cup, that not making you available to be better? And so that would be my question. Is there something there that can help you? Is there other people? Is there human resources that you could offload some of these quote unquote headaches if you view them as such? Do what you love, love what you do, and get other skill sets in there. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to be that person. You aren't that person. Let me tell you, I've tried to do a lot of things, and the light bulb moment for me is realizing, man, these folks, these team members are just amazing. They're better than me. An example of that, Ankit, is our dry eye treatments. So we have IPL, we have LipiFlow, we have radio frequency, we have something called a plasma pen. I mean, we have all the gadgets, 2 world-class dry eye centers. I don't even know how to work these things. I just know that they help my patients, and my ocular hygienists, my dry eye technicians. They take care of the patient. They manage those instruments to treat the patient's ocular surface disease. I just get credit, which is great, but I also understand what device they need. But my team does it all, and I wouldn't dare challenge their skill set. They're way better than me, and why would I do that? So I think that is a concept. Again, it's rooted in ego to some degree. We feel we should be the best because we went to school for so many years, and we should do everything, and everybody should do everything like us. I don't subscribe to that kind of philosophy. I think, again, just you could learn, you could get better every year and every day, and just have a good philosophy, a good mindset, and that'll get you a long way.
Okay. I like that. That's a good, good insight. So let's curious about, let's talk about a little bit more about the future. What are you most excited about for your growth? As like, I like this. I like to ask a couple different ways. So the first question I'm going to ask you is hypothetical. You got to go to 10 practices within a year. How would you approach that?
Yeah, so I'd have to purchase. I wouldn't cold start them all because that would be a challenge, I would say, but I would just acquire and then put into place my processes. I'd probably try to keep those existing owners on for a few years to make sure that I'm streamlining operations, but then I'd centralize operations. I'd make sure the process that I know that are successful in my 5 clinics would be transferred to those clinics. For instance, we have a contact lens ordering desk, all 5 of our clinics, one contact lens orderer for all of them. Just simple things. We have a call center. All the calls go in and we answer the calls. And I know that's not new to you, Ankit, but it is new to some of my colleagues to try to make it more efficient in your process and better patient care, better patient resources, all of those things we bring to those clinics. So I think, and we can improve them immediately. I used to be what's called a PDC for Alcon, a practice development consultant. They dropped me into a clinic and I would just give them advice. It was, the best 2K I made in a day because I wouldn't have to really do any implementation. The challenge with that, it's not always implemented, the advice. I know I had one of my colleagues phone me up 5 years later. I wasn't even doing this gig anymore. And they said, remember when you visited my practice 5 years ago? And you said, hey, you can make 100 grand more a year by doing A, B, and C. He said, you were right. I finally did it. And I just want to let you know, thanks. And he's kind of patting himself on the back thinking, hey, you're right. I did it 5 years later. That's $500,000 of lost opportunity to me on the table that he left by not implementing that immediately. So we would just go in and be able to normalize earnings and processes and really even patient care uh, and systematize things to make it easier. I think it's not that hard to do. Just the question is, what am I doing this for? Do I want to build my empire? Is that my goal? Or is my goal to carry on and do what I'm doing? Is the goal money? It really is not. It's, the goal is satisfaction and enjoyment of every day. So I have to make sure that I'm enjoying my day and I'm not feeling overwhelmed. So could I scale? 100% I could scale. I've built my business to scale now. I've built my infrastructure, my leadership team to scale. So could I acquire practices? Yeah, could. Thought about it. I might do, as my daughter comes back from optometry school and joins her empire, so to speak. We'll see how that goes. But I don't know. But I could do it. I could do it if I needed to. I already have the infrastructure.
Excellent. That's pretty exciting. Oh,
Yeah.
what are you most excited about in the industry? Like whether it's in Canada, US, worldwide, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's so many things that are exciting. AI is exciting. We're looking at telehealth and AI to serial look at our OCTs and fundus photography, optomaps and such, and tease out tentative diagnoses to help the doctor maybe identify candidates for geographic atrophy interventions and such. I'm really excited about AMD and treating AMD in a practice. We're using something called Macumira. I don't think it's in the US yet, but it's transpalpebral microcurrent to treat macular degeneration, dry macular degeneration. Non-invasive way, improves 8.8 letters in the study. That improves their VA. I mean, it's pretty incredible to improve somebody's VA by about 2 lines with a treatment. So there's a lot of really exciting things, I think. Dry eye, amniotic membrane, aesthetics, photobiomodulation, really exciting stuff, I think, just from a wellness perspective. Customizing nutrition based on your, genetic makeup. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about robotics. I'm excited about customizing eye care, personalizing it exactly how you'd like it. I'm excited about being able to communicate in a better way in a way that you prefer. I'm excited about our team and having fun and going to great conferences. I'm going to go to, I don't know if you heard about terrorists, but we're having some.
I heard a little bit about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to Vision
Popular.
Expo in Vegas this year because it's frowned upon. We can't go to these States.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go to Silmo in Paris and check out some new lines there from France. So yeah, I'm excited about all those things. I mean, it's fun. I'm excited about golfing. Boys trip in a month, and yeah. What are you excited about?
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the same things that you hit on. In the U.S. specifically, expansion of scope. I think the more I talk to a lot of folks, and the more that people have kind of like their fingers into the know, and there's expansion, at least in the U.S., expansion of scope is coming to meet the needs that we 20 years. So it'll be state by state. It's a little wonky how it works in the States, but that's exciting to see the expansion of scope. And in addition to technology like AI, it's funny you mentioned nutrition. I actually probably shouldn't have done this, but I took my genetics and my last health scores and said, ChatGPT, figure out what's wrong with me. And actually pick both nutrition plan and supplement plan, regimen. Obviously, you have to do figure out if that's right for you and ask a doctor. But it gave me some insights that I haven't heard before. And I was like,
that's amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Some bad news that I was like, okay, well, that's kind of valid. But I was like, okay, that makes sense. But other stuff, I was like, oh, this is helpful.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Yeah, I'm excited about SLT and some of the lasers that optometrists could get. We don't have that legislation yet. It's interesting. Niall, she's at NECO in Boston headed to fourth year now, and they're learning the full scope anywhere in North America. So they had a laser lab, SLT.
Your daughter, right? She's in
my daughter, Naya. Yeah. So that's exciting. I think that's exciting with the next generation. They're coming out with a lot more knowledge than I had.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm the old guy. I don't feel like the old guy, but I actually am the old guy. But I think that's the cool part is you want to keep young, is keep learning. Don't think, oh, I can't learn that. I mean, sure you can. You can do it. You just got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So get out of your skin, just step out into an area that feels shaky, and then it's exhilarating after you learn and try it. So to all my old colleagues, don't worry. It's pretty exciting going forward.
That's good. I actually like the insight. Have you always had this mindset of growth and things like that? I'm curious. Where's that? Is that come from anywhere specific, or is that sort of? Did you have a life experience that informed you and like said, "Hey, you know what? I was maybe timid at first, but then I had this epiphany, and then anything like that happened, or has it always been kind of this way?"
I don't know. That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure. I'm a very optimistic person, just in general. I just believe it's going to work out. If we play sports together, if you're my teammate in pickleball or my hockey teammate or whatever, I just think we're going to come back. I just think I never give up. So I'm one of those dogged, determined people. And I don't know if that helps me come through or I'm manifesting the positive outcome. I'm not sure, but it does work for me. And I actually believe that it's going to work. So when I go into any, let's say, enterprise or any kind of project, I view it as it's going to work. Now that takes hard work. It's not that it's just going to work magically. I wish I was magic. I just feel we can put our minds and hearts together and do something great. And is base ingredient to success. So for me, it's just, it's probably ingrained in me, just hardworking, immigrant, child of immigrants to Canada. And just, I saw that my parents worked hard and I've always worked hard, but I think it's the people that you associate with and attract. Those are really important. Are you someone that people want to be around, or are you someone that people can't wait to get away from? That's a big difference to me. And I think that fills my bucket, is being someone that people want to be around and like and enjoy their company. And that just makes it exciting for me wherever I go, because I want to be part of it. I want to be part of the fun, and I want to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I feel like, I've definitely enjoyed your company during the podcast. This has been good. I feel like we could do like 4 or 5. There's so much stuff that you have that we didn't even touch on today. I wish I could go deeper into. So I might have to have you back on for some.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been fun. Appreciate that.
Well, I'm curious, if people want to connect with you, Trevor, what can they connect with you?
Yeah, one of the easiest ways is on LinkedIn, at Dr. Trevor Miranda. That's probably easiest. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me, but just it's a private account. So you just have to send me a message saying who you are in the industry, and then I can accept you. Follow me on my podcast, Optometry Unleashed. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And just in general, love to hear what people are doing exciting in the industry. And yeah, if you're out this way on the west coast of British Columbia, it's beautiful here. Yeah, I just love to hear what's going on with everybody. This is fun for me to connect with you, and appreciate your time. But yeah, I'm pretty available, and love to hear from all of your listeners to see what's up with them.
Yeah, we'll put the contact information in the show notes too for folks. So, well, thank you again, Trevor, for being a guest on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll meet in person soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I look forward to that. And thank you, audience, for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share the video or podcast with anyone you know and subscribe. And thanks again, Trevor, for being on the show. This has been another exciting episode of Optometrists Building Empires. We'll see you next time. That's a wrap on another episode of Optometrists Building Empires. Thanks for joining. For show notes and more, visit buildingempires.live. This show is proudly sponsored by My Business Care Team. My Business Care Team was born out of staffing challenges my wife and I faced together, managing multiple optometry locations. We refined our approach at Classic Vision Care and now offer our expertise to others. If you're experiencing challenges with staffing and you'd like to set up a discovery call, we'd be happy to help you and connect you with the right resources. We'll see you next time.